On this week's episode, we talk about our thoughts on SummerSlam, the new WWE Championship, Dean Ambrose being written off of TV, and if Roman Reigns will be the one to step up and defeat Brock Lesnar. All of this and more now on Byte That. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 52 of Byte That, the semi-somewhat, maybe, international professional wrestling podcast, where we bring you the ups and downs of that which we love, which is the world of professional wrestling. My name is Ryan McNulty, and I am from Boston, Massachusetts, and joining me again this week, born in Manhasset, New York, Mr. Keith Poshik.
I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot.
I guess maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Anyway, as you notice once again,
hey,
Juan
my great-uncle did play for the NHL, though, so that kind of counts.
Did he? What team? Do you know?
The Toronto Maple Leafs. He won 2 Stanley Cups with them. Cool story,
wow.
bruh. Yeah.
A Canadian who played hockey. It sounds very unfamiliar to me. Anyway, so Juan is not going to be here once again this week. He will be back next week, so stay tuned for that. Get excited. So before we jump into the show, we got SummerSlam to cover along with plenty of other things. We want to remind you to, hey, if you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, remember to leave us a review. If you enjoy the show, just, give it a 5 stars, whatever. Let us know what you think of the show. That goes a long way for us. Also, don't forget to check out the brand new ByteThat.com. Juan and Nicole worked really hard on it. It's an awesome design. It's got all our content on there, a fresh new look. Definitely check that out. So we're coming off of SummerSlam 2014. A lot of title changes happened.
It was a clean sweep at SummerSlam. There wasn't a single champion that retained their title.
That's right. I didn't even think of it like that, because we didn't have the U.S. title on the line. We didn't have the tag title on the line, but we did have the Intercontinental Divas Championship and WWE World Heavyweight Championship on the line, all of which changed. So that is huge. You don't see that happen often.
No, you don't.
So while we're talking about these title changes, let's jump right into one match we definitely want to mention is Paige versus AJ Lee. Keith, how did you feel about this match?
A vast improvement over their last one. Like, holy crap, night and day. And was this the debut of the best/worst finisher name in the history of the WWE? The Rampage?
I think I've seen her do it before. I don't know if it was established as her finisher then, but
God, what a great name!
Yes. I do like the name. It is kind of cheesy, but it just fits really well. It's just an awesome, just a sick DDT. It's like, what would you call it? Like a cradle DDT or something?
Yeah, basically.
So anyway, excellent match between them. Like you said, vast improvement. I think that the chemistry was there. There was some great spots with that whole, it's almost like a electric chair drop kind of forward onto the barricade.
Yeah.
Just plenty of good stuff.
I think it helped that they both had a character to play in that match. Like, it seemed kind of confusing at Battleground where you weren't sure what their role was in that match, but there was an established face and an established heel in that match, and they really got to play to those strengths, and it showed that it worked.
No, absolutely. And we had Paige doing, not Paige, but AJ doing that diving clothesline to the outside.
That was crazy.
So
when do you see that in a Divas match?
Exactly. You can tell that they're trying to step up their game. They're trying to live up to the hype that, a lot of the internet fans have been giving to this feud, considering that these are 2 highly praised divas. So I was very happy to see that deliver, and we both, I believe, picked AJ to win this match, but I did mention that I wouldn't mind seeing them kind of trade the title back and forth. So this could be what we're seeing with Paige winning. I was pleasantly surprised to see her pick up the championship.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's a nice little birthday gift for her, apparently.
Oh yeah, that's right. I believe it's her 22nd birthday, and she gets to win her second Divas Championship.
Hey Ryan,
so early in her career.
What are we doing with our lives?
Yes, exactly. I'm 3 years older than her and have accomplished very little. Okay. So, moving on to the second Divas match that happened at SummerSlam, we did have Stephanie McMahon versus Brie Bella. And Keith, you called it.
Yeah, I'm ahead of the curve. And so what happened? What happened? What happened that I was right about?
Well, during that match, of course, Stephanie McMahon was pretty impressive. She was pulling off some moves. But then, of course, it was not without interference coming down as Triple H started, charging down to the ring, and Nikki was following from behind.
Quick side note, Triple H being followed by Nikki Bella as interference in the match, it seemed a little lopsided at the time.
It did. At first, you're kind of like, what can Nikki possibly do to stop Triple H? So she's just kind of standing there, maybe trying to get involved if she needs to. Anyway, Brie drop kicks Triple H out of the way. And all of a sudden, we have a situation where the Bella twins are trying to kind of corner Stephanie, or at least kind of like hold her to the middle of the ring. And then, as Keith predicted, Nikki Bella hits Brie, turns on her own twin sister, and we have Stephanie McMahon winning the match. Overall, I thought it was a pretty decent match for what it was. And did you feel that this was a letdown, or just kind of expected, or how were your thoughts overall?
It's kind of the running theme of SummerSlam, but I think it exceeded expectations again. It was a great match. Stephanie way outperformed my expectations for being someone that hasn't been in the ring for that long, but I mean, her training partner is probably Triple H. So I guess that's kind of expected. There's just one thing that irks me about this match, and I know it's nitpicky, shut up, smart kind of stuff, but Nikki Bella drop-kicked Triple H, and it knocked him flat out.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. This is a
man that is 13-time champion, and a diva drop-kicking him knocked him out and laid him on the floor. The hell.
Yeah, he did. He sold quite a bit. He also sold Brie Bella's slap a couple weeks ago on Raw, pretty hardcore, but I mean, They needed something to kind of have Triple H dispose for the moment in a Divas match, which is just an insane thing to think about in and of itself, is that, a Diva had to take out Triple H, something you maybe only see in the video games or something like that.
Yeah.
So, either way, I mean, it wasn't too bad,
match,
he quickly kind of recovered. He did sell it a lot, but, what are you going to do? It's a show, and, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, a more entertaining segment than I probably thought it was going to be. Also, Stephanie McMahon's attire, pretty cool stuff.
All of the feels from 13-year-old Keith comes rushing back like, oh, God!
So anyway, she also did an ice bucket challenge after that match in that attire, by the way. It's
oh, wow. I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, and there's some other good ones. Quickly, there, Vince McMahon did an awesome ice bucket challenge. Triple H, The Rock. So all the wrestlers are doing that now. But I do want to move on to the lumberjack match at SummerSlam.
Talk about fun, entertaining matches. Holy crap!
Yes, is this not the craziest lumberjack match ever? Pretty much.
I saw someone on Twitter say this at some point during this match, but if they were to ever make a top 25 lumberjack matches DVD, this would be number one. I would go out saying that this is probably the best lumberjack match of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think most of the time, at least in recent memory, do they usually kind of bill lumberjack matches as a pay-per-view thing. It's usually kind of a throwaway stipulation on Raw.
But I think the difference with this one is that they actually use the lumberjacks to benefit the match. Usually they're just kind of standing around hey, I'm on TV type of stuff. But they were actually a crucial part of the match.
No, I completely agree. Generally on Raw, if there's, that throwaway type of lumberjack match I was talking about, the most you'll see from the lumberjack match is
a giant 30-man brawl, basically.
Or a guy gets thrown out of the ring, the heels beat him up and throw him back in. Yeah. Not too much. But in this match, first of all, it made sense with the whole storyline where Seth Rollins keeps running away, so they wanted to prevent that. Of course, he still kind of gets away, but the lumberjacks are kind of going everywhere. They're going up into the stands trying to get them too, and then Seth Rollins is trying to escape, and then there's, a line of, Stardust and a couple other guys are there to stop him. So they really, they did a good job utilizing these lumberjacks. They're going up into the stands and, trying to catch up to them, or Stardust is there with a line of other guys trying to stop Rollins from running away. And I also appreciated that Damien Sandow himself was actually dressed as a lumberjack. And then, of course, we got Dean Ambrose just diving into literally everybody involved. So, just absolute chaos.
So, lumberjacks aside, how amazing was this match? Like, talk about ring chemistry between Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these guys have just been, clicking since the beginning. And, they know each other so well, so they know how to play off each other. And, I appreciated the, Ambrose does his typical kind of, he goes into the ropes and kind of comes back. He kind of goes under the top rope and kind of bounces back.
Into the clothesline there.
Yeah, exactly. That brutal clothesline after Seth Rollins had kicked him. There was just awesome spots here. And then it was kind of random. Kane obviously wanted to get involved. And then Goldust gets in his face and we got more chaos. It's out of control.
It's those little things like, if you go back and watch it, right after Dean Ambrose did the curb stomp to Rollins, he had this face of like regret on. That's what made it so good. It was perfect storytelling.
Yeah, I actually did notice that too, and I was, I wasn't sure how to interpret it, but when he hit that curb stomp, he just kind of had a look of
sadness, almost.
Yeah, it was interesting, but however you want to interpret it, it's. He's displaying emotion in the ring. He's not just kind of going through the moves. And that's what I really appreciate about Ambrose. This feud, I was talking to you guys yesterday while we were watching Raw, and I think it's already the leading candidate for feud of the year. I've yet to see anything that's kind of had that same intensity, as I've mentioned weeks past, where you really feel like these guys hate each other.
I think the only thing that would come close this year is Triple H and Daniel Bryan, but for like different reasons.
That's true. I mean, the whole Daniel Bryan authority, storyline was drawn out for so long that there's so much to it that, it may not be able to compete against that. But
just consider they did that like on that same level in probably about a quarter of the time.
Absolutely. And the authority storyline kind of, it engulfed a lot of things and not just Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
So, maybe if we're looking at it sort of as a complete, on its own singles feud, that, maybe Ambrose and Rollins, stands above that.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, the main event, and
the big one.
There is so much we can go on about this, is of course the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match between the champion John Cena and the Beast Brock Lesnar. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to let Keith talk here.
Oh my God. I can't really say on the podcast what that was, but wow, when we have to really start taking what Paul Heyman says a lot more seriously. Like, he called Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker a spoiler. Guess what? It was. He said that Brock Lesnar was going to victimize John Cena. Guess what? Holy crap, he did. What was it? 18 German suplexes?
16, but
16. Yeah. The point still stands.
Exactly.
Brock Lesnar took the literal term of 5 moves of doom and made it look cool.
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw it being that one-sided. It's insane. This is John Cena. This is the guy who always overcomes the odds.
He hit the F5 within a minute of the match.
Which I actually didn't see until I rewatched it because my beautiful WWE Network for only $9.99 was skipping on me. I don't know if you had any streaming issues, but I was getting some skips here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, nevertheless, just a match that was pretty entertaining for only having about 5 different moves between the two of them.
Yeah.
Mind you.
Defined squash match. Holy crap. The main event of SummerSlam.
The main event of SummerSlam was a squash match, and John Cena was the one who got squashed. I would have never believed anyone telling me that this would ever happen. So, it kind of makes you think, why did they do this? This is the guy they have built up for, 10 years as the guy. He's always coming out looking strong. So, Keith, why did they do this?
I think they did it for the same reason that Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker, to just build him as this unstoppable force. Because you got to keep thinking, like, who's going to be the guy that beats Brock Lesnar? And how good is he going to look after that win? Because now not only is he the guy that ended The Undertaker's streak, he's the guy that beat the quote-unquote blood, urine, and vomit out of John Cena, their top guy.
Absolutely. I mean, I think in a lot of ways they're just trying to rectify how poorly Brock Lesnar was booked in his initial return. And now they're actually booking Brock Lesnar the way he should be booked, as this, sort of just head and shoulders above everyone else, absolute monster who can't be stopped, almost like a modern day Andre the Giant.
Plus, for a company that's so worried about the quote-unquote next big guy, this is how you build him in a heartbeat. The guy that beats Brock Lesnar eventually is going to be in line to be the next big guy.
I mean, and that can bring up a whole topic of,
who's it going to be?
Who's it going to be, and who's really ready for that? I mean, if we look at the roster now, I don't think there's anyone who, if they wanted to, who isn't already established that they'd want to build, that could accept this, to make it be believable that they could beat Brock Lesnar. And I don't know. I don't think anyone's there yet. I mean, these are huge wins that Brock Lesnar has. He's beaten the Undertaker's streak, which is, nothing.
The biggest win.
Yes, that is the biggest win in wrestling history. That's, you have to be so delicate, so careful with what you do with Brock Lesnar from now on. You can't just have John Cena beat him at Night of Champions, which is what I'm afraid of.
There's
and then
no
just
way.
Have it be like, nothing ever happened. I mean, you have to be so selective with what you do now. That you have to respect The Undertaker, you have to respect John Cena here. I mean, it's nuts.
So where does this leave Seth Rollins? Because overnight, he became the least, or the person that you would least want to be on the WWE roster, KFA-wise.
I mean, exactly. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, what do you do with Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank? I mean, luckily, if we're going to make an assumption here that Lesnar, if he's going to lose, is at WrestleMania,
he still has the Money
Rollins,
in the Bank after.
Yes. Rollins has several months after WrestleMania to be able to cash in. We may, for the first time, see a guy really approach that deadline, and maybe there's some dynamic there, but we're getting, of course, per usual, way ahead of ourselves.
Exactly. It's what we do around here, folks.
But you brought up a good point with Paul Heyman that I quickly wanted to touch on here, is that, like you said, Paul Heyman's words have come true the past two Brock Lesnar matches. And for the first time, I think the next, whatever, match Brock Lesnar has next, when Paul Heyman cuts his promo on that, we're going to believe that way more than we ever have before. And which is different, because usually when a heel comes out and cuts a promo about how they're going to win, they guarantee this, they guarantee that. It never happens. That's how we've been trained as wrestling fans, is to never believe the heels. But now Heyman has been absolutely spot on 2 times in a row. So regardless of what happens in Lesnar's match, he's going to, properly promote that match, because we're all going to buy into everything that Heyman says.
Exactly. Heyman has basically become the perfect mouthpiece for as a manager.
Absolutely. So, with that win, Brock Lesnar, of course, made an appearance the next night on Raw. And that was, of course, to accept the brand new WWE Championship. Did they still bill it as WWE World Heavyweight Champion?
I'm not sure. Now that
I can't remember if they said that or just WWE Championship, but I'm going to say WWE World Heavyweight Championship, as that's been the vernacular for however long now. Exactly. So, any thoughts on the new championship? Just not really surprised, happy that it's one belt, anything like that?
I mean, it's kind of sad to see the World Heavyweight Championship go, but you knew it was coming, and I mean, it's just the old title with the new logo. There's nothing really special about it. It looks cool, don't get me wrong, but it's not this big sweeping change.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of happy that it's back to one championship. I do enjoy the two belt things, and of course, even as far back as when Jericho had the Undisputed Championship, he always had the best two belt entrance, I think, out of anyone.
Yes.
So, I mean, I enjoyed that they had the two belts kind of stick around for a while, but I think it was kind of time to just go back to one championship. They had enough time to let it sink in that the titles were unified, and now it's time to just kind of have one belt. It's simpler. A lot of guys, Randy Orton, Cena kind of having a tough time cutting promos and trying to hold two belts up and all that.
Well, Cena had a pretty good system going on, the whole wrap behind the neck thing.
He did, but I think it just kind of gets cumbersome, and it's time to just have nice one clean belt, and that's the main title. So I'm happy that it's there, and not only do we have the belt change, I mean, it's now officially that new WWE logo everywhere. Even it's already on Titan Towers now. They even got the flag with the $9.99 underneath. So it's all there. The new TV display, their kind of interface with the name bars and everything is all changed. I like the look.
It's a lot cleaner. Like the old Raw look was very rugged and had a lot of lines to it. This is a lot cleaner and smoother. Yeah,
and they kind of have these stage light kind of text for the names. It's kind of like lights. I think it's cool, and the whole signature thing in the bottom right corner. Now it kind of blends better with the USA logo. It's kind of that faded white. It looks a lot cleaner than kind of that the scratch logo with the red. Exactly, the red underline and everything. So overall, I'm happy with the new logo and how it looks on everything. So I'm happy to see those changes. We got one belt now. So just everything's been kind of cleaned up.
And the best part about that belt? We won't see it very much until WrestleMania, probably.
That's true. I mean, we literally have no idea what's going to happen with Brock Lesnar and the frequency in which he defends championships.
So here's a question. How often do you expect him to show up?
Honestly, I have no idea. The only thing that we can hope to guarantee is that Night of Champions, he has no choice but to defend it, since that's really the one pay-per-view that he has to, with every single championship being on the line. So I think that's a good start to at least have him defend it right out of the gate, at the next pay-per-view, since he's literally just become champion. After that, I have no idea.
Survivor Series, maybe, and probably not till the Royal Rumble, honestly.
At the very least, I think we'd hope that it would be Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. Anything there, WWE tends to kind of fall off the wagon, if you will, after Night of Champions, and things just kind of coast until we get to the Royal Rumble. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just kind of got a slew of subpar pay-per-views until the Royal Rumble happened. But you never know. I'd hope Survivor Series, I mean, it still is kind of a big four, maybe.
It doesn't feel like a big four anymore, but it's like
they still sort
it's
of
number four of the big four.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'd actually put Money in the Bank above it, but they, as far as they want to believe, Survivor Series is, part of their big four. But, we'll see if they treat it like one and actually have Lesnar defend the championship. But I mean, that's totally up in the air. I mean, we all have literally no idea. So, I mean, this is new for all of us, and we'll see what happens.
Maybe that's part of the reason why they moved Battleground, because that's now another pay-per-view that it wasn't another pay-per-view where the champion wouldn't be on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a reasonable explanation. But either way, I mean, we still get Hell in a Cell in between Night of Champions, I believe, and then we'll see what happens at Survivor Series. So it could be as long as 3 pay-per-views straight without a WWE World Heavyweight Championship defense, assuming, of course, that he defends it at the Royal Rumble. Or it could be maybe every other pay-per-view. Who knows? I'd hope it's at least at the Big Four, but we'll see. But I mean, what does that say for the Intercontinental Championship? I mean, is that going to be more highly sought after? What do you think?
I mean, it instantly gets a boost in like credibility because now it's the biggest title that's around all the time now. I mean, you could make an argument between that and the US champion. Still, I would put the Intercontinental title above it, and maybe it'll shine more light on the mid-card guys. Like all the top guys will probably still keep clamoring for the number one contendership, I guess it would be now, for the Brock Lesnar's title. But it definitely creates more mystique around the Intercontinental.
No, exactly. I mean, we could be seeing more number one contender matches, which is a refreshing thing if they do it. And you know, whether they book the Intercontinental higher than the US remains to be seen. But I mean, if we're going based on who's champion, maybe the US title might be more sought after the way they book things because Sheamus is
I totally forgot Sheamus was the United States champion. I'm clamoring to myself thinking, who's the champion? Who's the champion? Sheamus, that's it.
He wasn't even on the paper. Was he a lumberjack even in that match? I don't think I saw Sheamus on the whole pay-per-view.
No. It's where the U.S. title will get you, folks.
But I mean, we also saw kind of on Raw, we don't know whether they're going to go with it or not, but there was almost hints towards a Dolph Ziggler-Randy Orton feud, potentially, with Ric Flair hanging out with Dolph Ziggler, and then Orton is confronting Flair. So maybe they do something there, and I mean that's a great way to have an awesome Intercontinental title feud between Ziggler and Orton. Are they going to go that direction? We don't know, but I think that would be a good start to elevating the Intercontinental title. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Side note: Dolph Ziggler won the Intercontinental title. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think any of us expected that. We thought with the Miz's new Hollywood Miz push that he's had, that he'd be keeping the title for a little while, but you know, we got an unexpected win with Dolph Ziggler holding the championship, which is awesome. I mean, the guy absolutely deserves it, and I think people have been wanting to see him be used better, so this is great to see. And like I said, he could be jumping into a feud with Randy Orton, so we'll see. I hope so. I think that would be excellent.
Agreed.
So another thing that happened on Raw, we had mentioned earlier that Stephanie and Brie, had their match. Stephanie came out victorious, and then we start off Raw with Nikki Bella coming out with Stephanie.
Can you remind me who called that for a couple of weeks now?
Yes, Keith. You called that Nikki Bella was going to turn on her sister, and then we might potentially have a match between the two of them. So we actually opened Raw with Stephanie McMahon coming out to Daniel Bryan's music. And of course with her Steph thing. So that was a good way to get heat.
Yeah.
And then out comes Nikki Bella to cut her promo on why she betrayed her sister.
And what a promo it was.
This was definitely the most cringeworthy segment of the night. There's only so much Stephanie McMahon can do. It was hard to get through.
It was.
I don't know what it is about Nikki Bella's promos, but it just comes off very
let's say forced and flat.
Yes.
I think it's a thing with both Bellas though, because Brie isn't that much better. It was kind of brutal.
Yeah, I mean Brie can be a little bit better sometimes, but the thing is, I mean, they're okay if it's just a couple lines here and there. But like, I feel like Nikki kind of got too much into the drama, like, oh, she, because I'm not married and all that. It's like, the crowd isn't really gonna care about that stuff. I just feel like they kind of went the wrong way with it.
Do you think this is a situation where Total Divas hurts the feud? Because she's talking about how she's not married, but thanks to Total Divas, we all know that like her and John or Cena are together, and whatever that is.
There is issues within the show. Not that I watched or anything.
Yeah. No, Total Divas Report coming back this fall.
Yeah. There is issues within the show about John Cena not wanting to get married, so she is insecure in the show, absolutely, about not being married.
So what does this do for that show? Or do they hate each other now?
No, I think that's the main issue with the show, is how do they play it off on Total Divas when there's a storyline on the show about them, being at odds?
Because they always do that weird thing where even though it happened like 6 months ago when they filmed the show, they still act like it just happened last week, and then they'll have like a reactionary match on Raw. So how does this work?
It's very strange, and also how, Total Divas is sort of, it's like kayfabe 0.5, where it's like some things are acknowledged as, oh, it's part of the show, but then some of the matches they'll be like, oh, like, you beat me, or whatever, I'm mad that you beat me, or something.
Yeah.
Where, so, you're in this weird world where some of it's the show, and some of it they're playing off like it's real. So where do they go with this whole feud between them? I guess we'll just see on the show. But either way, I mean, I think we agree that maybe they work on the mic work, because it's just, the whole segment kind of fell flat until the whole slap came in. Then the crowd was still into it.
Yeah. Plus, I think Brie missed a cue at some point, and Nikki and Stephanie just had to keep bantering about nothing for a couple minutes, and it started feeling awkward.
There was that slight awkward moment where Nikki's just kind of sitting there after she had said something, just kind of waiting for Brie to come out. So it just kind of overall came off as pretty cringeworthy. And
plus, still using the same Twitter handle. Kind of weird.
Yeah, maybe it's time that they get their own themes and own identity completely. But I mean, maybe the match will live up to the hype. Maybe they'll ramp things up. I still have hopes for it. I still think it's a good feud.
It could be a good match. Because, I mean,
exactly.
You'd like to think that nobody would have better chemistry than twins, right?
Yes.
So hopefully they have a pretty good match.
Less words, more cat fights, and I think it'll be doing just fine.
You didn't say it right. Less words, more...
I'm not doing it. You can do the Joey Styles cat fight if you want.
No, we need one for that, I guess.
Speaking of Joey Styles cat fights, it's time for this week's...
That's right. Much like a cat fight, it's money shot time. It's Tweet of the Week. And this week's Tweet of the Week is brought to you by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Matthew, at Matthew Greg on Twitter, 2 Gs. This week's Tweet of the Week is, Brock's going to hit 999 German suplexes.
Thank you, Keith, for that amazing, semi-somewhat, maybe awesome tweet of the week. Remember to tweet at Byte That Cast and, hashtag Raw, all that during Monday Night Raw or any time, and you could possibly be the tweet of the week. So we ended Monday Night Raw in a very surprising way. We had Ambrose versus Rollins in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Just when you thought their matches couldn't get any better opposed to that Lumberjack match, they completely blow expectations out of the water again.
Exactly. We have another awesome match between these two guys who really just, can't help but be the most entertaining part of Monday Night Raw every single week.
Oh, yeah, it's such a burden on them. They can't help it.
They can't help but be awesome. So anyway, the moment everyone's talking about, of course, was the curb stomp or blackout onto the cinder blocks to Dean Ambrose, basically making it so that he had to be carried out on a stretcher. So this led us to believe that they were writing off Dean Ambrose to be starring in a WWE Films movie called Lockdown.
Yeah.
Which is not to be confused with Lethal Lockdown from Impact Wrestling. But, so Ambrose is off TV for at least a month, maybe more. How do you feel about this?
I don't know. It's cool that Ambrose is going to be in a movie because I've always said he'd be a really good actor. But at the same time, now we don't get Dean Ambrose for a month, and they're ending the best thing on the card just while it's still picking up steam.
Absolutely. I mean, as much as I'd love to see Dean Ambrose act in a movie, and I know he's gonna, knock it out of the
Blow
park
it
and
out of
be
the
awesome.
water. Yeah.
Dean Ambrose, this is the guy who's just getting hot, and you're gonna take him off TV. Hopefully, it's not too long, but I feel like, he's really picking up steam, and now it's just gone. Like you said, the best part about, Monday Night Raw is gonna be gone. So, I'm really sad about this, and this kind of led me to think we have, Ambrose out, Daniel Bryan's out, Lesnar's not going to be on TV every week. John Cena, we don't even know what's going to happen with John Cena right now. What is going to fill the void? What do they need to do to keep people watching? Because, they've got a lot of star power now kind of off the show.
That's a great question. Who do they have left? They have Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Cesaro, I guess?
Cesaro's kind of been inconsistent with the way that they've been booking him. We have no idea. RVD's going to be off TV. Jericho's leaving.
We got Bray Wyatt.
Of course we have Bray Wyatt. It's just interesting though, because now our champion isn't going to be on TV every week, so they sort of need everyone more now than ever. I think John Cena won't be away too long. He might have just missed this Raw to sell his injury. He'll probably be back for a rematch at Night of Champions, whether that's going to be a straight-up singles match, a different type of match, or even a triple threat or fatal four-way. We have no idea, but I fully expect John Cena to at least get a rematch there. We know he's got movies to film too, so there's going to be a lot of star power kind of in and out of the show for a little while. So, this really means that Roman Reigns has to be the guy to sort of step up here.
It's almost kind of a blessing for Roman Reigns because, no offense to Roman, but he was getting completely outshunned by Rollins and Ambrose in that feud, and now it's kind of taken out the competition for him.
Yeah, if there was ever an opportunity, and this guy is gonna get every opportunity as long as he runs with it. Roman Reigns, this really could be his time to truly establish himself, set himself apart, really make himself be built up to be the guy. As we were talking before, who's gonna beat Lesnar for the title? Everyone has every belief to believe that WWE wants it to be Reigns, and it's really pretty much up to Reigns if he's going to be that guy.
What if it's Ambrose? Think about it.
It's possible.
Even though Ambrose got carried away on a stretcher last night, think about how strong they made him look. He kicked out of a sit-down powerbomb onto a pile of steel chairs, definitively kicked out at two.
Which was amazing.
That was an amazing spot.
That's how it could be. We could be seeing a very similar situation to last year's Royal Rumble, where maybe Reigns is sort of that Batista, where,
and
that's
Ambrose
the guy
is
that
Daniel
they
Bryan.
want. And Ambrose is Daniel Bryan, exactly, where the crowd is kind of clamoring for that. There's just sort of this way now that fans are, where they sort of just want to reject whoever WWE wants us to like and sort of like who they want to like.
Really more than ever, superstars live and die with how the fans accept them. Because, Batista is the poster boy for that. He was supposed to come back, be the big guy, win the big match at WrestleMania, and everybody just rejected him.
Yeah, and it's not even Batista's fault in any way.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah, he was sort of a victim of circumstance where he just happened to come in to a situation where Daniel Bryan was getting really hot and everyone wanted to see him succeed and everyone was going crazy for him. It didn't matter who it was. Maybe only a few names like Stone Cold Steve Austin or someone like that. Pretty much only Stone Cold Steve Austin could have probably come in there and the fans would have been like, okay, we'll watch Austin win the title at WrestleMania.
Pretty much, yeah.
But pretty much anyone else, the fans were going to reject. CM Punk might have been able to get away with it.
I don't even know if he would over Daniel Bryan.
I don't know either, to be honest. We can't really say one way or the other. But I mean, the truth is, Batista, guy who, that's guy who the fans do, can really like and get behind.
Like, I remember being pumped for when Batista was announced to come back, and then he did.
That
and then
first week, everyone was all over him. Everyone loved him. But then when, a guy comes back who's been away, wins the Royal Rumble, as opposed to the guy that they've been cheering for all year, that's when those feelings changed.
Mm-hmm.
So we could see that again, depending on, how they do things. If Ambrose just sort of becomes the guy that the fans accept more.
So you mentioned Bray Wyatt. Do you think, like, when you think Bray Wyatt, do you think about the title picture at all? Because personally, I don't. I just can't see Bray Wyatt being a contender for a champion. Like, he's a great wrestler and he could totally do it, but character-wise, I just can't see it.
I mean, he has been he was involved in that Money in the Bank title match.
But
so
even that, it felt awkward. That, like, why is Bray Wyatt in this match?
It's true. His character doesn't really need the championship. But then you could say the same thing about Undertaker before he won the championship.
Yeah.
It's eventually, he's going to win a championship eventually.
But at the same time, think about, until late in his career when he was the top guy on SmackDown, think about how many titles The Undertaker actually won. And for the time that he was around, it's very, very minuscule.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, you could say with Bray Wyatt, his character doesn't really need the championship. There's so many things you can do with feuds that he's involved with where it doesn't need the title to be entertaining. So, I mean, they may never, get to that level with Bray Wyatt where they want him to have the championship. I'd still like to see him win a championship. I think you could build a story around it where, if he's the champion, he has
the power or something like that.
He has the power. Everyone has to, follow him or whatever. They could do a million things. So, Bray Wyatt could absolutely win a championship down the line. I mean, his Wyatt family, Luke Harper, Eric Rowan were chasing the tag titles for a while. So obviously molded into there is them trying to win championships.
Yeah.
And we saw them win the championships in NXT and, how they handle it there. So clearly there's a way to do it, but like you were saying, they don't need it as much as, maybe other wrestlers
like
would.
Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns lives and dies with his first title reign.
His title reign.
Yeah, his title reigns.
Reigns.
Roman's reigns. Roman's reign. Yeah, that's it.
Roman's reign will be very key.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is the guy. I know we're kind of flipping between Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt here, but
it's still all the same big discussion.
Yes, exactly. Like I said, Reigns is really the guy where it's all there for the taking, and it's completely on him. And we'll kind of jump back to SummerSlam. What did you think about his match with Randy Orton? Like we said, this was sort of his real first big test.
I mean, it was an all right match. It was good. It was a really good match that involved Randy Orton's and Roman Reigns. There was nothing super special about it. Like, you had your big RKO spot. It felt like a Randy Orton match, if you know what I mean by that. It kind of went through the motions that a match involving Randy Orton usually has. There was nothing special. Personally, I think the finish was a little subpar. The spear looked kind of
Yeah, I mean, it was bad. It was not necessarily bad by any means at all. I don't
think it was the breakout moment that everybody expected Roman Reigns to have, but at the same time, it wasn't detrimental to Roman Reigns. Like, it didn't feel like a step backwards. It still felt like he's at the exact same place he was before SummerSlam.
Exactly. I mean, I would say he's a little bit above that because I hadn't really seen too many outings from Roman Reigns and from a singles perspective that really were that impressive, but I thought this was a good match.
Yeah.
That, it was not bad at all. Then again, you're in there with Randy Orton, who's about the smoothest worker there is.
Yeah.
And, it was a great match. I enjoyed the way that they kind of played off the RKO and everything, where he was going for the spear or whatever, Superman punch.
And then just
the RKO.
bam,
but
out
it
of
was
nowhere.
very standard. There wasn't a lot of false finishes. It didn't necessarily need that, though, because I think they wanted to establish that spear is, you hit that on even a top guy, and he's going down.
But I mean, it was just like, you have a checklist of all the moves that Randy Orton does, and you have a checklist of all the moves that Roman Reigns does. They just filled those check boxes.
Absolutely. I mean, the same way you could say, basically, that if this could be a Raw match.
Yeah, totally.
It wasn't this high-quality pay-per-view match. It was a good match.
Exactly.
And it would be a good match on Raw. The best part was probably Orton's awesome power slam counter from the spear.
That was sick. Beyond belief.
Just that the way Orton does that power slam is just it's art, really. So yeah, I mean, Roman Reigns, I feel like if he's going to be the guy to take down Brock Lesnar,
they have a lot of work to do.
Exactly. He's got a long road ahead of him, which kind of just quickly makes me think, I think it would be way too soon if he was to be that guy. Because, I mean, you look at a guy like Cena, I mean, how long was he in the mid-card and all that before he got that opportunity? I feel like...
Not that long. Maybe 2 years?
Well,
tops.
I mean, he debuted in 2002 and didn't win his first championship till 2005, so...
But he really started being established around the time when he started feuding with Kurt Angle and The Undertaker on SmackDown. And then he really picked up steam around the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania 2000 year, I guess that'd be 2004.
So it was about 2.5 years.
Give or take.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about Roman Reigns debuting around last Survivor Series, 2 Survivor Series ago now, like it's kind of hitting the same mark.
Yeah, I guess you're right if you're counting the whole run as the Shield. It's just his whole run as a singles wrestler is still very new. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we still got a lot of time till WrestleMania. I mean, like I said, we love to get ahead of ourselves here. We're already thinking about WrestleMania 31.
But I mean, with the situation with the championship's in, you kind of have to.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't help but think about it because we're trying to rack our brains for who's going to take down Brock Lesnar. When you convincingly beat up and take down
the guy,
the guy in that way, you're left to think, well, who the hell is going to stop him?
Yeah.
So let's leave that open. Hey, why don't you guys leave us a comment? If you don't think it's going to be Roman Reigns, tweet us at ByteThatCast, leave a comment on YouTube. Who should be the guy to dethrone Brock Lesnar after a convincing victory over John Cena? Let us know, and we'd love to read some of your answers on next week's show. So I do want to talk about something a little bit different on this show. I actually want to talk about a children's card game. And no, I'm not talking about Magic the Gathering or Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Hearthstone, but God, we could talk about Hearthstone for so long.
We could, but we will not. We're actually talking about the brand new WWE SuperCard Game, which is available on mobile devices and iPad. And which is that considered a mobile device?
I think it's considered a mobile device. I would say iOS and Android devices.
There you go. All right, that's the proper way to say it. So anyway, WWE SuperCard Game. Keith,
wow.
do you wanna take over here?
Sure. Yeah. This game, the best way to summarize this game is way more fun than it has any frickin' right to be. It's first of all, it's 100% free, so you can just download it and jump into it. And then all it is a card game involving stats. You get a couple of cards to start out with. They all have stats. You put them up against other cards. It all does this animation thing where cards beat the crap out of other cards. Like your cards can jump off the top rope and do suplexes and all them crazy stuff. Then you just either win or you lose and you get more cards and you keep getting more cards and more cards. Then all of a sudden it's been 4 hours and what the hell are you doing with your life? It's a very fun game. Highly recommended.
Yeah, so I think this is just the ultimate casual mobile phone card game. The way they designed it is you sort of build this deck and they have different stats like power, toughness, charisma,
speed,
and you're able to acquire new cards that have better stats. You can even train existing cards by having them eat older cards and
so you can
make their
literally
stats better.
feed jobbers to Triple H.
Exactly. You absolutely can. They even have different rarities. They have like common, uncommon, super rare. So you're going to find yourself saying things you never thought before, such as, "Oh my god, this is amazing that I got a super rare Bo Dallas."
Or
something
oh my
like
god,
that.
Eva Marie just squashed AJ Lee.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I believe I had Santino Marella beat the Ultimate Warrior before. There's just a lot of fun matchups, and it's just a really addictive game where the way that you actually face opponents, it's not even like you actually are battling back and forth. To kind of increase the
It's all about speed,
flexibility.
the game.
Exactly, the
it
flexibility
just
of
feels
the
so
game.
Fast.
Instead of having to do a matchmaking system to find an opponent, it sort of just takes a replica of other people's real decks, and you just click one of the decks that you want to play against, and you win your matchup there, and your record is only based on the ones that you play yourself. That way, instead of waiting to get into a game, you can literally just click into whatever game you want, and boom, you're there, you're already playing. There's literally no wait time, so you can just keep doing more games and getting more cards, and it's insanely addictive.
And once you get deep into it, they also have a King of the Ring mode where you're put into almost a season against people. You're matched up with 16 other people. You play 50 matches. The computer generates all those matches, so you have to keep going back and making sure that all your guys' stamina is good. Then you play this 50 match season over the course of a couple days. Then you come back and then you see how well you did in basically that ladder of all those people, and then you win rewards that way. So you can keep playing while you're not playing.
Yes, as Exhibit might say.
Exactly.
It's almost a way to describe their King of the Ring feature is like, it's almost like Farmville, in where it's always going on in the background, and you have to kind of come in and check in on it. So you might get these little energy boost cards. So say Triple H has been in a couple of matches, because it's going on even while your app's closed. You log in and see, oh, Triple H is tired. I can actually give him an energy boost here with this card that I have, and bring his stats up to full so that he can fight better in his next matchups that are going on. It took a little while to kind of grasp that concept of the King of the Ring, but it is a really cool feature.
And as fun as that game is, I think it really needs the ability to play against friends, because right now it's just random online matchmaking. And one thing that I'd love to see is the ability to play against people you know. Like last night, I got a super rare Bray Wyatt that stats are off the freaking chain. I would love to use that to decimate Ryan online, but I can't do that right now.
Yeah, I still don't have a super rare. I think my deck has a rare Triple H, Santino Marella, Ultimate Warrior, an uncommon... no, I also have a rare Mark Henry, and then an uncommon Summer Rae as my diva. So my tag team right now is Santino Marella and the Ultimate Warrior. So that's how ridiculous this game gets.
Yeah, I think mine is Bray Wyatt, Hulk Hogan, Seth Rollins, Mark Henry, and Eva Marie. So talk about a dream team. My tag team is Seth Rollins and Mark Henry.
So that's how ridiculous this game can get. It's a lot of fun. I think, like Keith said, the one element missing is that you can't even just do a casual matchup with your friends. So maybe we'll see that in the future. But definitely give it a try, and let us know what you think about it.
And if you don't have a mobile device to play it on, take a look at our YouTube channel on Thursday, because Juan's going to have gameplay, kind of a Let's Play style thing of WWE SuperCard. And should be a hoot.
Exactly. That is going to be our special video for Thursday, youtube.com. Don't forget to hit subscribe.
Subscribe?
So finally, real quickly, before we end the show, we got a question from Mr. Roach McPoach.
The fourth Bitey.
Yes, the honorary fourth member of the show. Asking us, with the addition of the new WWE Championship that we have now, what are some of our favorite title designs from the past? He says one of his favorites was the Oval Intercontinental Championship. So Keith, quickly, what are some of your favorite designs?
I just like it simple. I think one of the best belts ever is the World Heavyweight Championship. It's simple, it's plain, it looks like it has so much history to it, which is just awesome. And yeah, I miss it. I kind of miss the World Heavyweight Championship.
It's only been gone for a day, but we already miss it.
Exactly, lest we not forget. Some other great ones, I think, I really love the white Intercontinental Championship. I just think it looks clean and slick and cool. And, yeah, that's what I can think of right now.
For me, I personally am always a big fan of the Winged Eagle belt, which is a very popular choice. I also like the Big Eagle belt, which was sort of the variation that came afterwards. The one that, Austin, Triple H, The Rock all held. It's the one that doesn't have the wings sticking out. It's just completely circular. I'm a big fan of the Hardcore Championship, which is just the same one I mentioned, but all smashed up. But that's always been a favorite belt of mine, and I appreciate the design was very fitting for it.
The $1 Million Championship. That is a great title.
Yeah, that is also another good choice. The NXT Championship, I don't know exactly how I feel about it, but I do appreciate that it has a very different look, and I think that's really cool. So thank you very much, Roach McPoach, for that awesome question. With that being said, we want to thank everyone for watching this week, and as always, there's just a couple of things I want to share with you. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at ByteThatCast, where we tweet all week long and especially during Raw and pay-per-views. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast, where you can not only catch this podcast, but you can also catch show clips, our special videos every Thursday, which is going to be one playing the WWE SuperCard game, as well as Saturdays, where we do we've sort of switched things up. It's a little bit more of a reaction based thing where I'll be reacting to one story in the news in wrestling that I sort of want to elaborate on, give my opinion, something we may not get to during the week. And as always, don't forget to also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/ByteThatCast, and check out our new ByteThat.com. Awesome new layout, and all of our content is on there. With all that being said, thanks again for listening, and we will see you next week.